Hey, what's up everyone? Jay here from Square Pegs, and 'tis the season to be thankful. And while we typically talk about our thankfulness around the Thanksgiving holiday here in the States, I really wish we would extend that out more throughout the year, but since 'tis the season, I'm gonna do it. I wanted to talk to you today about some channels that I'm thankful exist. Now, these aren't all smaller channels. These aren't all gaming channels. I'm gonna give you guys the heads up on that right now. There's gonna be index chapter markings down below so you can bounce to each different one if you really want to, but just wanted to talk to you about 20 different channels that I really appreciate, that I really enjoy, and that I really love, full of some incredibly talented people that maybe you aren't aware of. And the ones I want to start off with right away are Robert and Wes from Gaming Off the Grid. I owe a lot of my success on this channel to them recognizing me last year. They called me out as one of their channels of the month last year in August, and then I was also the channel of the year, which absolutely blows my mind. And because of them, I accelerated from about 1,000 subscribers to over 3,000, and then up to 4,000 at the end of the year. And it's because of them that I've continued to have that kind of momentum. Some other things have happened as well that have lent to it, but because of their involvement and their direct suggestion of my channel, I've had a lot of viewers find me, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate them. If you don't know Robert and Wes, they're great guys. They talk about all kinds of different things, collecting, different types of games that they love, buying guides, things like that. They're really kind of a Swiss Army knife of a channel, and they're fantastic, and they're great dudes. You should check them out. Because honestly, it's the least I can do for everything they've done for me is suggest that you check their channel out, and if you don't know them, you'd probably really enjoy their work. They're great guys.
You have 4 to 6 videos in the can, and then something pops off, we're ready to go. These games inevitably always ruined that plan.
Yes.
Our first non-video game related channel is going to be Steve Dangle. You guys know I'm a huge hockey fan. I've been a hockey fan my whole life. I used to play. And I am a massive Boston Bruins fan. And all of that lends to the fact that I probably wouldn't like Steve in general just because he's a Leafs fan and they're a bitter rival. Well, they like to think they're a bitter rival, but it's actually the Canadiens, but it's the Leafs. They're cute. They don't actually do anything of merit. So Steve, if you've never seen him, Steve is a high energy lover of the sport of hockey. And he does a video series called LFR. And basically he looks at every single game the Maple Leafs play that year and reviews the game. Usually in very calm and collected manners. Like this, for example, when the Leafs happened to lose to the Carolina Hurricanes a few years ago, when the Hurricanes had to use an emergency backup goalie.
Toronto Maple Leafs lost an actual National Hockey League game to a 42-year-old Zamboni driver who works for them!
Steve has a love for the sport that is my favorite sport on the planet, something that I love to this day, that I've loved my entire life. And honestly, I think he's one of the best ambassadors for the sport. He's a great guy. He does a lot for charity. He does a lot for just involvement. And there's simple things that he does in his videos. Like one of the things he does whenever he says thank you. If you guys notice, sometimes I do this. I got this directly from Steve. This is 100% lifted, but he always says thank you. He does sign language for it. And I think that's just such a small, simple gesture that is awesome. And he's a great guy. I love his content, and more people should watch him because even if you don't like hockey, he's funny as hell, and it's definitely worth checking out. We're gonna go now with a channel that I think deserves more recognition, and this is from a woman in the gaming space who is incredibly talented, does amazing video work, unbelievable decorative and DIY options, and that is Samantha Azira. Sam is someone I discovered through Scott and Jen of Retro Rivals, and the first time I watched one of her videos was when she was rearranging her game room and putting up some different decor options and showing how to do certain things that I've since incorporated in some small way into my game room. Not a one-for-one copy, but just simple things that she has done that I just look at and go, oh God, that's brilliant. I should absolutely do that. She did a particular video recently that I really enjoyed where she used a faux brick wall, kind of like a paneling from Home Depot, and she showed how she made a backing for her consoles and how she ran the wires through it and was able to hook everything up that way. It was a really great use of materials, a really great video, and she's just such an engaging personality, and she's awesome. Sam's a really good friend, and her channel's really fun.
On this episode of Ghetto Garage.
No.
We're going to segue right into the people I just talked about, and that's Scott and Jen from Retro Rivals, who are legitimately 2 of my favorite people on the planet. I went to Siege this year because I wanted to meet Scott and Jen. They were number 1 with a bullet, top of the list. They made my convention season. I legitimately love them and Dennis. I think they're fantastic people with one of the best channels on YouTube that does not get the attention it deserves because Jen's editing, first of all, is spectacular. Scott's sense of humor is unbelievable. Jen's is as well. They have such a wide variety of things they cover. I'm flummoxed as to how they don't have 50 or 60,000 subscribers, because their content is that good. And they're my favorite Canadians. Legit. Like, sorry to every other Canadian out there that I follow, but they are legitimately my favorite Canadians. I had such a wonderful time meeting them this year. It was definitely the highlight of 2023 for me, and I can't say enough just how much their friendship means to me. They're wonderful people, great friends, great parents, just amazing folks. I'm so lucky to have Scott, Jen, and Dennis in my life. They're unbelievable.
In every video lately.
I know.
Anyways, so should I see if this is recording? It is.
This one is new. This is a channel I just discovered in the last few weeks, but I'm just astounded by how engaging these videos are. I'm not a baseball player. I played Little League. I was terrible, but I'm not a baseball player. So things like exit velos and launch angles and the different types of baseball bats there are mean nothing to me, but the Baseball Bat Bros make some of the most compelling content on YouTube. Their examination of bats, their deep dive on the history of baseball bats, and trying to break world records, like trying to hit the world's longest home run, which is, I think, 574 feet. They were trying to break that record in perfect conditions in Wyoming. It was amazing. They're just so engaging, and they're so much fun to watch watch these guys just ripping home runs. My favorite video they've done was one recently, actually the first one I saw of theirs that just really captivated me was they swung historical bats used by Babe Ruth, bats used by Honus Wagner, to see how they would perform today. And it was fascinating to watch, and to see how excited they got using these classic bats. And the replicas are obviously, they're not like stuff from the Hall of Fame or anything, but it was just so neat to watch. And talk about just an amazing ambassador for the sport. These guys are fantastic. If you dig baseball or you just like compelling content, check them out. They're amazing.
Oh, God, that hurts.
Back to gaming content, I gotta talk about my boy Steve Craig. Steve is your good old boy Southern friend that loves video games. Like, he's just such a wholesome, kind dude. I love watching his content because I feel like, even before I talked to Steve regularly, watching his stuff made me feel like I was talking to an old friend, because he's just genuinely excited about games. He loves handheld gaming, and he does these videos every week where he suggests a handheld game, or he'll suggest a channel, or he'll go over his pickups. And it's not just a quick, oh yes, I got this, this, and this. It's, this is why I got this, and I'm excited to get this, and this is fantastic, and this is the coolest thing ever. And he's infectious. He's just such a cool guy, and I love watching his stuff. Whenever a new Steve video comes out, I hop on it immediately. I don't always comment, but I love watching his videos just because they're so pure. They're pure gaming love and excitement, and I just adore it. He's such a good guy too. It's just fantastic stuff.
In the puzzling adventure. So this is a game that my buddy Jay from Square Pegs actually helped make.
I have suggested this guy's channel in the past, but never on a video like this. So I want to call out Russ Lyman. Russ doesn't need my help by any stretch of the imagination. Russ doing okay. He's got over 50,000 subs now, but he is legitimately one of the most talented people I have ever seen. He does incredible DIY work. He does unbelievable stuff with his vehicle. Like, he's the guy that has the Scion Mario Kart vehicle. He's the one that goes to all these conventions in the Northeast with this amazing car, or his Yoshi scooter, and all these unbelievable cosplays that he does. And he does it with a smile on his face, and he shows you how to do all this stuff. None of this is trade secret. He does these incredible detailed videos showing how to do these things. It's awesome. He's just a great guy. I can't tell you how much I enjoy Russ and just love his content, and think he's so much fun to talk to and so much fun to watch work and to see the things he gets into. And his podcast, The Weekly Warp Pipe, is fantastic with Jay the NES Addict. Another channel you should check out. It's just marvelous stuff. Russ is such a good guy.
There's a lot of screws to tackle to get out of here, so we're gonna get at it.
All right, I love tabletop gaming. I've got a ton of D&D books right over here, and one of my favorite channels for D&D content is Ginny D. Ginny is an unbelievable ambassador for tabletop gaming, for D&D, for role-playing. she's marvelous. She's incredibly charming. Her stuff is wholesome and approachable and easy to pick up and digest and have fun with, and you can show it to someone that you might want to get interested in the game, and she describes things in ways better than you can many times. She's also unbelievably talented. Like, it's not just, hey, I like role-playing games. She's also an A+ cosplayer. She has unbelievable character work. Her voice work is great too. Like, I think that's something that's really underappreciated about her stuff, is that all of her characters that she portrays have a unique voice, and she does them all, and they're great. And she's a singer. Like, she's ridiculously talented. She is just kind of a Jill of all trades. She's magnificent. Check her stuff out. If you like D&D, she's definitely worth checking out. Her stuff is great.
Sponsorship spot that has a costume and a set. It usually takes me like 3 times as long to film as the rest of the video does.
All right, I have shown these guys on the channel in the past. I have talked about these guys on the channel in the past, but never suggesting that you need to subscribe to them. So Jared and Eric from the Retro Gaming Pandemic are 2 of my favorite people in the gaming space. They are just 2 of the kindest hearted people I've ever met. All they want to do at a convention is get together with people and talk. They just want to hang out with their friends. And you can't help but love that because they're just so kind. I love their stuff. Jared is one of the best editors in the game, like legit. He's so talented. Eric just drives things, and they both have their own unique personalities. For being twins, they're both so uniquely themselves that their videos are always engaging, and they always have a different sense of opinion and a different kind of perspective on things, and they're both just great. I love these guys. Their channel is wonderful. If you dig things like Pixel Game Squad or Gabbo, definitely worth checking them out because they have some awesome content along that vein.
From our guys, Matt, this is where you bought your GameCube from.
Hey, Tyler's got some big figures.
Yeah, Tyler, tell me about this big figure obsession.
All right, and that's it. We're just going to go right down the line. We'll do 3 of these back to back to back. Next up, I want to talk about Gabbo. Gabbo and I interacted initially on Instagram. When Gabbo called me my friend, I believed it. And this isn't something where it was, we have a long history or anything like that. It was just, that's who Gabbo is. He cares. He genuinely makes you feel like you matter and like you belong. And I got to meet him way too briefly at Siege, but it was an instant hug. It was an instant hello. It was a, how are you doing, my friend? It felt like meeting someone I've known for years. And that's kind of the way I feel with his content, because his stuff is irreverent. It's silly. It's Gabbo. You know, like, if you don't know Gabbo, please watch his videos, because watching his game hunting videos is like being along with a friend and just like shooting the with your buddies as you go out and hunt for games and you do stuff like that. It's just, his stuff is brilliant. It's so much fun, and I really just, I can't tell you enough about how kind of a guy he is. He's such a great dude.
Yeah, no, this shouldn't be friendly. It should be just going crazy, guys.
And that goes equally for Mort from Mort's Garage. This one's a little more personal. So Mort was someone much like Gabbo I interacted with initially on Instagram, and I didn't actually know Mort had a YouTube channel. I just thought he had a great Instagram feed. And I would talk to him there, and it got to be something where we started watching each other's videos and we talk, and watching him blow up was so cool, because just so incredibly well-deserved to watch his channel erupt, because his editing work is magnificent. But the stuff that really mattered to me was getting to talk to him at Siege. Much like Scott and Jen, Mort was someone I really wanted to meet, and being able to do so at Siege was awesome. And the most important conversation had nothing to do with games. We talked about our families, we talked about our kids. It was, what's married life like for you? What's it like in Michigan? What's it like in California? It was a personal one-on-one conversation, and I can't say how much I appreciate it, because it was legitimately one of the most honest interactions I've ever had with a person, and he's incredible. Not only that, he does great content. Like, his content's spectacular. It's good stuff, but at his core, he's just a purely good person, and he's someone I consider a friend and someone I really enjoy, and I wish I had one of his shirts I could wear in my videos, because I would love to advertise his channel a little bit. But if you don't know Mort, once you get to know Mort and you talk to Mort and you meet him at a convention, or you get to speak to him face to face, consider yourself lucky because you've got a good person in your life, and that's pretty awesome.
Lots of crazy collector's editions. Deathmark looked really interesting. I'm gonna give this one a try. I don't like Atari.
This is a shout out to AP from the Movie Chair podcast, who does have a YouTube channel, but there's also a podcast involved, and it is, I'm a fan of cinema, I'm a fan of films, and I have appeared on some of his videos, and I've done some content for him, and he actually featured me in a video recently talking about movies from the 90s, which I thought was really cool, but it's not because of that. I think his content is amazing. I think he has a very unique perspective on the film industry and movies in general. I think he's a great guy. And I really just enjoy his stuff. And I mean, he's a Brit, so he's got a great accent, so he's easy to listen to, which doesn't hurt. And that's awesome for a podcast. But the content there is really what matters the most, because his stuff is just, it's top tier. Like, I love his work on his podcast. I love his work on Instagram. I wish more people knew about him on YouTube, because I think he deserves more recognition. It's just fantastic stuff.
Let's just go to Mandalorian first of all. I thought with The Mandalorian we would not see a physical media release until the end of that show.
Let's talk a little bit of gaming here, and I had the pleasure of meeting this guy at Siege for the first time when I found out we were going to be doing a panel together. I say we were going to do a panel together, but he did all the work. And that's not me being modest. He legitimately did all the work. And while I didn't really know him, we interacted briefly on Twitter leading up to the event, but G to the next level, just one of the kindest guys. Like, he was enthusiastic about me being on the show. He asked for my opinion on stuff after he put together this entire PowerPoint presentation and did, again, all the work. I need to stress that. He still wanted to know if it was okay and if there was anything else I wanted to add to it. And I like, his stuff is amazing. Like, he's a huge Sega fanboy. He got to be a featured speaker at the Sonic convention down in Texas this year, which well deserved, because he's just so enthusiastic about the brand of Sega. And I like, the panel we did was talking about RPGs on Sega consoles, and I thought it was fantastic. It was so much fun to be a part of. So good, in fact, that we actually had to rush the ending because we had so much fun talking about stuff. He works a lot on Twitch, but he is doing more stuff on YouTube. I'm going to put his Twitch link down in the description as well, but definitely check out his YouTube channel, because G is... he's so good.
To share the stories behind with you, so go ahead and grab a seat, grab a snack, because it's story time.
All right, this one is a little bit video gaming, a little bit hockey, talking Nasher. So Nasher, I've got this weird, I've got this weird connection to Columbus now. Because I go so often for conventions, and it's becoming one of my favorite cities, and I was shocked to find that Nasher, who I discovered reviewing an inflatable ice rink for your backyard accidentally. Like, I was watching some stuff about ice skates, trying to find out some information about some different skates so I could get some new skates, and it got suggested to me. I was like, oh, we have one of those in the basement. We haven't used it yet. Let me watch this video. And it was hilarious. It was fantastic, and he was so engaging. I was like, well, yeah, I gotta watch this. And I came to find out he actually does gaming content as well. He'll do some stuff with NHL 24, or at the time it was, I think, NHL 22. And he's done some other stuff with, like, Hockey Ultimate Team in the NHL games and some of the other NHL games on Steam. And not only is he, like, ridiculously engaging with his gaming content, he's also, like, a really damn good hockey player. He does in-game content as well, where he's actually, like, in the game. He plays for a roller hockey team called the Columbus Heat. He wears a GoPro on his helmet. You get to see first-person perspective of the game as he's playing, and it's magnificent. The editing is slick. The camera work is slick. His personality is great. I love Nasher. Like, I aspire to have a channel, an iota as successful as his, because his stuff is so engaging and so good. And I love seeing the kids that love his channel. Like, he's doing so much for youth hockey in Columbus that it can't be said enough. He's amazing.
So we literally are just using the left analog stick. I say, this guy might not be bad.
I didn't have the chance to speak to him at Siege, but I want to call out Tyler from My Retro Life, because there is a lot of retro content on YouTube, and a lot of it comes from the perspective of, this is thing I like. Let me tell you of thing I like. You're on my channel. You probably know that. Tyler comes at it from a different perspective. His content, I mean, yeah, there is some of that, but his content is also deeply personal, because his father was a videographer and tried to capture as much of life's moments as possible on video. And there's just something to be said about Tyler being willing to share that stuff And they're deeply personal videos. Like, I've cried. Like, there's been content that he's done where, like, there's been tears because they're so personal, and you don't get a lot of content like that in the retro space or in the gaming space. I don't want to spoil a lot of it. If you don't know him, it's not my story to tell, but I really do encourage you to check out his channel. I'm sure everyone does already, but yeah, it's there's a lot there. there's a lot to that channel, and it's helped me process some stuff. And I don't think that's the intent of what his channel is there for, but that's what I've gotten out of it. And yeah, thank you. I appreciate your content. I appreciate you just being so kind to me and reaching out to me. You've always, in our interactions, always been incredibly kind to me, and just it means a lot. So thank you.
He showed up at school with his Game Boy and shiny new copy of Super Mario Land 2. Right before my 7th birthday, Mom and Dad finally relented.
All right, now we're going to talk about the only YouTuber, non-gaming related, that I have ever sent anything to. And that is Shannon, aka the Hockey Guy. Shannon is the benchmark of consistency. If you have a YouTube channel, you should strive to reach a third of what Shannon does on a daily basis. This dude does multiple videos a day. He does a news of the day video about the NHL. He reviews and previews games every single day. He does introspective deep dives on certain aspects or certain topics about the NHL that are phenomenal to me, and it's not just NHL related. Discovered him during the pandemic, actually. I was starved for hockey content. I found his work right as the league locked down. But to see him be able to move forward and continue to create this incredibly engaging content was kind of remarkable, because there was no content for him to build content off of. But he did it. And he's just awesome. And like the thing I sent him a Kalamazoo Wings jersey that was based on the Vancouver Canucks design. And I sent it to him because he's a jersey collector. He has a massive collection of jerseys. And one of the biggest thrills of my YouTube career was getting to see Shannon hold up the Kalamazoo Wings jersey in his jersey rankings video. It was so cool. And he just makes great content. And he has awesome cats and bunnies. And his wife Yvonne is cool as hell. So yeah, just Shannon rules. If you dig hockey, you need to be watching the Hockey Guy. You probably already do, but check it out.
But Chicago, they win 3-1. That's a home start. They did trail first.
All right, now I want to tell you about my friend Andy. Andy, aka Pacmancase. Andy is legitimately one of the funniest people I've ever spoken to. He has an unbelievable sense of humor. He looks at life with such light and such happiness, and it's really recharging to interact with Andy, because his stuff is always so engaging and so pleasing, because his videos are fun. Like, he does a lot of convention coverage. He does a lot of collection hunting stuff. So if you're into that stuff, you need to be checking out Andy's work. But it's not just, I'm looking for this game. Some deeply introspective stuff from Andy as well. Like, I did a video earlier this year where I was talking about my collecting habits needing to change. And that video was entirely because of Andy. And I'm showing the footage from that video right now, but his stuff is just amazing. And it's so refreshing to see someone who has such a healthy view of collecting and healthy opinion of how to collect that I can't help but enjoy him.
Of collecting, I ended up getting this bug that this is some project, some goal that I could possibly have that would be fun to collect for.
Here's someone that is decidedly outside of the gaming space. Well, not decidedly, he does talk about video games. And he's got Amiibo all over his dashboard. But this is Matthew from VanlifePLUS. Matthew is a vlogger out of Calgary, Alberta, Canada, who I found earlier this year, and I just found him to be incredibly engaging, because it wasn't... my wife and I watch a lot of Van Life videos, and one of the things that always bugged me about them is that they're always pristine, they're always perfect, they're always very staged and very Instagram, and it's all very fake, or frequently very fake, and I don't want that. I want to see the other side of things. Like, Meredith and I like to go camping. We like to see what other people like to do, because we know what it's like camping in a vehicle. It's not pretty, it's not clean, it's not pristine. And one of the things I like about Matthew is that his life isn't pretty, it isn't clean, it isn't pristine. He's been dealing with a herniated disc in his back that he needed to have surgery on. He's been dealing with life as a single parent where he shares custody with his daughter's mother. He has been dealing with his family moving a province away and kind of the emotional baggage that goes with that. And he deals with a tiny van that he lives in that is frequently not clean and is frequently not pristine. And there's always things falling off the walls or always things breaking that he needs to repair. And it's real. It's real content. I never have once felt like anything that he says to me is bull. It's always real. And I enjoy his content. I think it's great. And he loves gaming. Like, he plays his Switch all the time. He talks about playing his Switch. And it's just fun to watch. I really enjoy his stuff. Matthew, if you check this out, thank you for, hours of great content that I've thoroughly enjoyed over the last 6 months. I appreciate it. Keep it up. And thank you for being uniquely you and showing real life. It's awesome.
All right. You sure you don't want to stay up there? We're going to be in motion soon. All right, then.
All right, last gaming content creator. And this one's a little interesting because I actually came to this as a fan of his game development. I had never actually watched any of Drew's content before I played Carl. I talked to you guys a lot last year and over this year about how much I love the video game Carl. It is one of my top 5 Switch games. Like, legit, one of my top 5 ever Switch games. It is a brilliant platformer. It is a sincere game. And when I say that, I say it's sincere because you can feel the soul behind the game. You can feel the inspiration, and the story being told is so wholesome and so well done. And that is so reflective of its creator in Nintendrew. I got to meet Drew this year at Corks, and I am not afraid to say that I was terrified to do so, because I fanboyed when I found out that I was going to be meeting him. And then I got terrified because I found out I was going to be rooming with him, and I was so scared that I was gonna just drive him off because of me fanboying out over stuff. So I was like, gotta play it cool, Jay. You gotta play it cool. Just be calm, be cool, everything's gonna be fine. And I didn't have a thing to worry about because talking to Drew, within 5 minutes, I felt like I was talking to someone I've been friends with for 20 years. He's a sincerely kind individual. He's so incredibly talented and unbelievably creative. And getting to see him at Corgs and then again in Cleveland was a treat. I can't tell you enough how much I enjoy his work, and then his content is great too. Like, that's the afterthought for me. It's like, I'm telling you about this guy, and yes, his YouTube channel is wonderful. His game is magic, and as much as I love his YouTube channel and his game, the guy is better. He's just a purely good person.
In order to swap messages and drawings. If you had a DS during its heyday, you are probably all too familiar with this application, and might even have some fond memories of sharing artistic masterpieces with your friends.
And because of Drew, I actually discovered the last person I want to tell you about, and that is Jacob the Carpetbagger. Drew and I went out to dinner at Corgs, and he mentioned Jacob the Carpetbagger to me, and I didn't know who he was. I'd never watched a video of his, and I was just kind of like, doesn't really sound like my thing. Because of some of the people he had kind of described him as being, and there are other creators that Jacob is definitely like that I just don't enjoy. But I finally decided to watch his content like 2 months later, and I was blown away. And I think if any bit permeates through every single person that I've suggested today, it's the sincerity that each one exhibits. And with Jacob, I immediately got a sense of his adoration of everything I loved outside of video games. All of this weird roadside Americana is stuff I've been fascinated with for decades. My grandfather built and designed the Twisty Treat buildings, and I got to see a Twisty Treat building in one of Jacob's videos. I was blown away. It was one of the coolest things. And all of this just uniquely roadside Americana and American folklore like cryptids and local legends and things like that, and tourist traps. It was something that Jacob enjoyed, and to see him sincerely talk about these places and things and people that he loves and wants to share these experiences with people to show these amazing places that are a little bit off the beaten path and not just along the interstate. Jacob is one of those YouTubers that I would love to meet just to shake his hand and say thank you, because I sincerely appreciate his work. I can't imagine being on the road as much as he is. Like, he is constantly in motion. And the amount of content he puts out and the editing and the length of the videos is astronomical to me. I was ecstatic to back him as a patron because his work is just phenomenal. If you like roadside Americana, if you like folklore, if you dig haunted houses, roadside attractions, things like that, Jacob the Carpetbagger is someone you need to be subscribed to. He's a travel vlog with sincerity. He goes to the weird places, he finds you the things that are unique to each area, and they're just fun. They're just wonderful, wonderful pieces of entertainment and pieces of media. He's a great creator.
The shark head there sticking out of the wall. All right, let me see if I can make him eat my head. So I get my head inside the shark's head. Oh, there we go.
Now, that's not to say these are the only channels I want to suggest. I've done a couple of other videos as well. Those are linked down in the description. I'd encourage you to check those out. Those are other channels that I just love and I think other people need to be watching. I would be remiss if I didn't specifically call out some very important people to me. John Riggs, John Hancock, Gary from Rock Solid Productions, Game Dad, Hey It's Thor, Drinking Games with Josh, like people that have helped make me who I am. Stuart from Generation Pixel. It's because of these people that I am the creator I am today, because without them I wouldn't be anywhere near where I'm at. Skipper Bob's Breakdowns, Sean Roselle, just unbelievable content creators that have been there. And whether consciously or not, or whether directly or not, they've helped influence the channel to be what it is today, and I can't thank them enough for it. Please let me know if there are any channels that are mainstream, off the beaten path, gaming, non-gaming related, anything that you love, let me know in the comments down below. I am always looking for new content to watch because it's where I get my inspiration. I don't tend to watch a whole lot of gaming content just because I don't want to be influenced by what they're doing. I want to make my own things. I want to use my own voice. So I like watching stuff like Jacob the Carpetbagger, like Nasher, like the Hockey Guy. These are things that help me as a creator. Yeah, but I'd love to hear from you and let me know what your favorite creators like that are. What are your favorite creators, whether gaming or non-gaming? Let me know. Until next time, folks, I have been Jay. I am thankful for each and every one of you, as it is this season to be thankful. I sincerely can't tell you guys how much I appreciate this unbelievable year. It has been a hell of a ride, and we're just getting warmed up. You know, that's the best thing about this is when I started this channel, I had no expectations of ever doing anything with it, and now it's probably my favorite thing to do. I love talking to you guys about games. I love talking to you about the gaming industry and the things that I love, my hobby that has permeated my life since I was 8 years old. I'm so happy to be able to share those opinions and those thoughts with you guys, and so thankful that you like to hear what I have to say. So until next time, folks, I've been Jay. Appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me. Thank you for being here. See, there's that Steve Dangle influence again. And until next time, remember, play more games, stay square, and take care. I'll talk to you soon.